Hello, and welcome to X Versus. So, Stephen Bonnell II, aka Destiny, has been accused of non-consensually sharing nudes of a woman named Pixie. This will be a reading of the document that she has. Let's jump into it.
I will be suing Stephen Kenneth Bonnell II. On November 29th, I learned that the streamer Destiny had non-consensually shared pornographic content of me online. My dignity, peace of mind, and hopes for the future were stripped away in a mere matter of seconds following the betrayal of someone I previously trusted. I am at least the third person he has done this to. I hope to be the last. I will not be commenting on the experience of the other women he has hurt, as it is not my place or story to tell. I will, however, share my story in the hopes of preventing this from occurring again. I have known Destiny for around 5 to 6 years now, and often find myself in heavy disagreement with him. Despite this, I do my best to see the best sides of all people, trying my hardest to spread positivity and create understanding where I can. It's corny, but I want to meet people where they are, and focus on which ways we can build bridges together towards a better future for everyone. Some people call this a fault of mine. They claim I am naive and should be more careful. Those people are right. When I was 19, over 5 years ago, I was extremely sexually inexperienced and sheltered. Being severely terrified of leading someone on or SA, I thought I could trust Destiny, who I had multiple long conversations with regarding consent and boundaries. So you can imagine my surprise when I discover he distributed pornographic content of me without my consent. Yes, you read that right. Stephen Kenneth Bonnell II sent pornographic content of me to a random 19-year-old e-girl Discord kitten whom he had never met before, and then she published it to the whole world. Rest assured, despite never having met her, he at least spoke to her plenty of times on the phone. Of course, this is what he says happened. I think it is just as likely that he used her as a proxy to widely distribute this material while claiming deniability. I do not understand why Destiny would knowingly and willingly put me in a position where I would receive non-stop sexual abuse and harassment. If we believe him, he was trying to impress a barely legal teenager using my body and my privacy. The betrayal, coupled with the hundreds of messages I've received filled with sexual harassment and abuse, have left me feeling hopeless and devoid of almost all happiness. The only thing that has kept me going is the hope that I can bring this man to justice and have him face legal consequences for his actions. For the past month, I have been speaking to lawyers about my situation and what to do, and have decided this is the best course of action. I will be suing him for violating U.S. Federal Code 15 U.S.C. Section 6851, civil action relating to disclosure of intimate images and for publication of private facts in Florida. I will be seeking emotional and punitive damages for his actions. I have been told that a court case like this could potentially cost over tens of thousands of dollars. I am terrified. I mean, this guy talks about potentially suing Hassan, as if for fun, and Hassan actually has the resources to defend himself. I cannot imagine what he might try to do to me in this process. Sometimes, I wonder if he does this as an intimidation tactic. I wonder if he is purposely trying to put fear into my heart when he casually talks about throwing money into a lawsuit with a multi-millionaire who can fight back, as if it's an indirect flaunt warning over his capability of Whoever the next Joe Rogan of the left is, it cannot be someone that crosses sexual boundaries, violates consent, and puts women's well-being and safety at risk. It cannot be someone who puts women in positions where they will be sexually abused and harassed. It concerns me that Destiny has been interviewing potential DNC chair candidates, such as Marianne Williamson or Martin O'Malley, who have no idea of what he's done. As time passes and he tries to position himself to have interviews with increasingly powerful figures such as Zelensky, I can't help be filled with fear that Destiny might continue to succeed, despite facing no repercussions for his actions. If the Democratic Party wishes to succeed in the future, it cannot be a party that accepts the sexual exploitation of women. It cannot be a party that allows men like Destiny to break into the mainstream, for allowing him access to such spaces would be a direct endorsement of his behavior. I have been told that the payout might not be worth the harassment and attention I will receive. In an ideal world, I would do this privately, but have been told there is no realistic way the court will grant me anonymity. This means my only option is public. I have been told by a variety of people to not go public. I have been told by some people that Stephen really does feel sorry, but I am not inclined to believe them, especially taking into consideration his actions regarding me. Regardless, what Destiny did is unacceptable, and I believe he will do this again unless if he faces justice. Let me be clear. Destinies has violated federal law in his transgressions against me. He has violated my consent and is directly responsible for the sexual abuse I have received. I am terrified.
Now, Destiny has officially responded on his Reddit. Let's go check it out.
Sometime in November, extremely sensitive and personal material of mine was leaked. This affected not only me, but many people in my life. I want to be clear. The leak happened without my knowledge, consent, or authorization. I never had an intention for any of these images to be published. I haven't spoken out publicly regarding this situation for a few reasons. I am actively pursuing criminal and civil litigation on these matters against multiple parties. Speaking publicly about these materials brings more attention to them, which harms all of the victims involved. I've been trying to move on from covering drama content as it has had an increasingly negative impact on those in my life. One person involved has expressed suicidal thoughts in relation to the matter, and I did not want to exacerbate the situation by talking about it publicly. Because there are now multiple parties involved in litigation, it is unlikely I'll be able to answer any questions until pending litigation has been resolved. That said, though I am limited in what I can say, it is important that people know about my recent communications with and regarding PXIE. So on December 11th, I received a message from a mutual acquaintance named Lauren Hayden, known online as Lauren De Laguna, who has a legal background. Lauren has had a negative sentiment toward me after I rejected her romantic advances earlier in the year. I understand that she has organized the fundraiser to support PXIE's lawsuit against me, and assume that she has been counseling PXIE on how to proceed. That same day, I received a message from Pexi where she suggested she would create a post about me that would go live after she committed suicide. This concerned me greatly. I genuinely believed that she was still in mental anguish following the leak weeks earlier. I responded in earnest, doing what I could to reassure her and letting her know that she had every right to pursue a legal course of action. At no stage did I try to convince her otherwise. This was a highly emotionally volatile time, and my main concern was her well-being. A few hours later, I messaged a mutual friend, Straighterade, who I knew to be particularly close with PXIE. We tried to figure out the best way forward in terms of making things right, or as right as they could be, for PXIE. In that conversation, we spoke about things I could do to alleviate the toll on PXIE's mental health. I took Straighterade's suggestions and presented them to PXIE. I explicitly offered to help her financially, having had it communicated to me that she was also under financial pressure while dealing with this matter. PXIE responded stating that whatever price she would ask for would be too high and would only result in making her feel worse. This is an older screenshot from our conversation. It appears she has since deleted only that message as it's no longer in our current conversation history. Later, in a conversation with Straighterade, she told me that PXIE seemed to want me to cover her entire tuition for law school. Others told me that PXIE thought it would be appropriate for me to pay her anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million. At no point did PXIE make a specific or explicit request for financial compensation. I think sometime on December 13th, PXIE unfriended me on Discord. It became clear that no amount that I agreed to would be satisfactory by nature of the fact that I agreed to it. Third parties communicated that the point of any financial compensation would be to punish me. That language was incredibly frustrating to hear secondhand. I had already shown a willingness to make things right as best I could. I had spent time talking to mutual friends of ours with the intent to help address concerns with her mental health and suicidal thoughts, the sincerity of which I genuinely believed. I was objectively harmed by this situation and was actively seeking to find a resolution that worked well for everyone. I am not sure where PXI got this idea that she needed to financially punish me. In this text message, PXI reiterates that she doesn't want criminal penalties for me, just big financial ones. Some of my most personal messages have gone out to the world because of what happened, including multiple incredibly explicit videos of mine, many of which have been forwarded to family members and colleagues. Information has come out which has irrevocably damaged my personal relationships. This saga has been a nightmare for all parties involved. Her accusation that I likely used a proxy to widely distribute this material while claiming deniability is extremely hurtful. I flat out cannot believe that anyone would think I intentionally leaked this material to the public. I increasingly felt uncomfortable by the language being used regarding financial punishment and wanting to teach me a lesson, along with constant references to the precariousness of someone's mental health. Text messages. It no longer felt productive to engage in these conversations. As is well documented at the start of this, I was completely willing to make things right with PXIE. At this point, I just tell people close to me that if Pixie wants to pursue legal actions against me, she's always free to do so, but I don't feel comfortable talking to her or about her until at the very least my current legal actions have run their course. It has been brought to my attention that Pexi has now tried to re-add me as a friend, but I have ignored these requests. I've never told anyone what they can or cannot speak about, and I've always left that option open to them. Despite what some people have said, I've never threatened Pexi with litigation or NDA'd anyone. My goal was to respect the wishes of the people who have been affected by the leak. PXI has now stated her intention to sue me and is fundraising for that. I do not believe I have violated any laws, and since Kai has made clear what she wants to do, I will have to let the evidence and legal filings speak for themselves. It is unfortunate that it has come to this, but it means that all communications with her or Lauren, who may or may not be representing her, will have to be through counsel.
Well, that's both of the allegations and the response. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.